After playing 15 hours of the Marathon Server Slam, I have some thoughts. But before getting into what I realized about the game, I want to thank everyone for the support on my last two videos. I didn't expect to get these views and comments, but I'm glad you all tuned in to hear my thoughts and opinions on things, and I hope you took something away from it. After the first day of playing Marathon, I stepped away wondering why I felt how I did, wondering why I felt bored. It had me wonder if all the hype I felt before the Server Slam was for nothing, and if this was it for Bungie. But then I did something crazy. I played the game some more. And to my surprise, I started to enjoy it more than I did in the beginning. It was clear that Marathon definitely had a learning curve and was a more hardcore experience than Arc Raiders. The more I played, the more pieces started to click into place. I'd get into gunfights wondering why I wouldn't win despite me hitting more shots, but then realizing I had a white weapon with no mods while they had a built-out weapon and higher rarity shield. I started looking more at what the factions offered. Weapon mods, shields, runner mods, etc. Once you get enough items, you build out a runner. It feels dramatically different than a base runner, and it made me wonder why I thought the game was bad when I was running nothing on my character. Then I finally understood the appeal of what Bungie was trying to achieve here in the gameplay rotation. I was understanding how important it is that you go in and get materials to progress your factions, then buying what the factions sell to be stronger on your next drop into Tau Ceti. The more I played the game, the more I had fun, and I really do envy those who tried out one or two runs and dropped the game. For some, the game really isn't for them, and they gave it a fair shot, and that's fine. Not every game will be for you, but for those who stuck around and learned to understand what Marathon was asking of you, they found a game they couldn't wait to play more of and felt homesick despite the game being a couple days away. My initial worries of "is this it for Bungie" started to fade, and I was excited to see more and more of the game and to be able to actually delve into what Bungie had made here. Even with my overall outlook being positive, I still had some issues, so let's get into those. Performance. I don't know if this is the Tiger engine showing its age, but the game ran terribly for me. I was hitting lows of 70 FPS with my computer not being on the weaker side. Whenever I'd get into gunfights, the game would feel like a slog and I just have to pray that I could make out what was happening in front of me and I'd come out on top. My highs weren't much better either, with it barely reaching 150 and that was just in the menu. I don't think I ever saw over 120 FPS during a run, and definitely not during a gunfight. UI was an obvious critique I saw, and although I didn't mind it too much, I could see the issues with it, and Bungie's already talked about how they're looking into feedback and plan to change things in the future. PvP felt sparse, but I asked myself why I thought that, and that was because I'd been playing a ton of Apex recently. I had to remind myself that this isn't a battle royale, it's an extraction shooter and you need downtime in these games. Many of my issues had to do with how I was viewing the game and what I was comparing it to. Even Arc Raiders isn't a fair comparison, with Marathon feeling way more hardcore and punishing, especially in solos. Finding certain things inside runs felt really bad, like ammo. I felt like I had to carry a Volt weapon with me because the UESC mainly dropped that ammo. Shields felt extremely weak. The weakest troops in the UESC could break my shields with a couple shots, and I found myself blowing through healing mats in my first encounter of the match. Another somewhat con or thing I'd like to see introduced is the shooting range. I found myself reading a lot of the mods and thinking they'd be good, but having no way to try them out. With the only way to test them being jumping into a run, you really don't have any options to try out different builds without the chance of losing them. If you lose a build, then you have to work back up to those items with the chance of losing them again. I don't think any player will be against the shooting range, and I do think it will be a net positive for the game long term. I don't think I have many issues that the general community hadn't already discovered or talked about, but I am eager to play more in sync time when the game officially launches. I'm not sure what player counts will look like or what will really happen after launch, but we can only wait and see. Bungie has always been good at improving games over time, and I think we can expect the same thing here. We've already seen how fast Bungie has been improving and fixing issues we've had, and this is just the Server Slam. So I'm sure we can expect more and more of our feedback to be heard and implemented on.